Hello, welcome to Political Breakdown. My name is Evan, and today we're going to be talking about Jill Stein, this lady right here. She's ran in the past two presidential elections as a Green Party candidate. So, as you can tell, she's got a lot of green on her page, and this tells us a little bit about Jill herself on this page. But we can also look at her principles, as she calls them. And this sort of goes over all of the pretty standard ideas that the Green Party tends to, put out each election cycle. So, if you guys have been around for a while, she should not be too surprising as long as you guys have looked into the minutia of politics. Of course, I do not know if you guys necessarily have. But to go over a little bit about Jill, as a person, she had run for governor in Massachusetts in 2002 and also in 2006, I believe. Yep. She was nominated for Secretary of the Commonwealth in 2006. That is my bad. 2010, she had her second candidacy for governor. But she's been just sort of a staple with the Green Party since, 2002, sort of, before the Green Party was what it was. So, or was what it is today. So, nothing super, intriguing about her, just, something to note. She is a little bit on the older side of the candidates. She's 2 years older than even RFK Jr., who we covered in the last video, so that is also something to note. She's not nearly as old as Trump or Biden. In 2016, there was a little bit of controversy because the amount of votes that she had in the state of Michigan, along with some other states, if you assumed that all those votes went to Hillary Clinton, and none of them would have just stayed home or voted for Trump, then she would have handed Trump the election, theoretically. Now, what happened, and people can, take it as they will. They should be better sports about it, because there's not any... Hillary does not deserve voters who would prefer to see someone like Jill Stein as the president, just as Trump is not, deserving of any Gary Johnson voters in 2016 as well. So, with that out of the way, we'll sort of start to look at all of her policies here, which she calls principles. I sort of like her page just for that. She's like, "Meet Jill. Here's the principles." So that's sort of a nice little touch, I think. So yeah, let's get into what she sort of stands for. So she stands for an economic bill of rights. She wants to have a living wage instead of just the minimum wage. I think that she's even said that before. Don't quote me on that. But she wants everything from housing, healthcare, food, education, all that type of thing, just simply, affordable for the common person. And I think that we all sort of want that. It's just how we go about that. And it's sort of an interesting thing to note. She doesn't exactly put any links or anything to what she plans to do for any of these. And so that's sort of what would take her away from my pick, unless, I watch more of her stuff directly. But just from a website standpoint, she doesn't quite do what she needs to do to get me fully on board. And that's sort of an issue that I'm seeing with a lot of the third-party candidates, and it makes it difficult to make these types of videos. Because I don't want to just take a bunch of clips from their actual campaign speeches. So, I suppose that's a decent way to sort of sum this up. I mean, we don't really see exactly what she's asking for, just, all the rights and freedoms, and that's great, but tell us what you want. Um, like, do you want Congress to pass bills, um, to prohibit bathroom bills, basically, and whatnot? Like, what are you looking for? What are you planning on doing for these people? Not just saying that you want to make their lives better. Because I think, Trump and Biden even want to make people's lives better. It's just they don't necessarily have the right policies to enact that kind of change. Um, that's a fairly polite thing to say about Trump and Biden, and maybe a little bit more credit than they deserve at times, but it's not like they are evil, ha 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 ha, I just want to make it. And, there's a possibility, there's an argument that they are more required to match what their donors want than just simply the people who vote for them, because there is a two-party system. And that would just simply go to say, hey, maybe we need to start voting for a third party. But, I sort of digress. Overall, she's not a bad pick. It's just sort of a milquetoast pick. You don't get much of anything out of her for policy prescriptions when you're just simply looking at her website. And I wish that she would do better at that. We will also look at the Green Party website. Just because I forgot to have this back open. I had this open for a while, and then I never got to this. So here's where you actually would have to go to see her exact policies, if they actually... I don't remember. I don't think I actually got to reading through these, but let's go to some of the social justice, environmental justice. There we go. So this is obviously one of the bigger things for the Green Party. They're a lot more focused on ecological things. That's why they have the leaf on their logo, and why they're called the Green Party. It's quite obviously because, hey, they are here to help the environment. That is their number one priority. So here they do actually sort of go over some of the things that they can do to help with the environment. And so, they can offer tax incentives to being more ecologically friendly, which they have already started to do with, tax credits on electric vehicles. There's arguments on whether or not they are more ecologically friendly, but, it's whatever. And they also want economic equality, and they call out the issues. They aren't always the best at saying exactly how they want to get rid of it, but they give you an idea of how they want to get rid of it. Like, they want to have no more for-profit policing. I think that's a great idea. I have personally worked in, sort of tangentially to the prison industrial complex. Not working directly in a prison or jail, but working for a company that supplies something for jails. And that company sort of tried to, sell itself to us, the employees, as being a force for good in that particular sector of the prison economy. And when I actually looked into it, they were charging the absolute max that they're legally allowed to charge inmates and their families. So I think that that's, a solid step that the Green Party wants to do. They want to, sort of get rid of that in a way. I do have some worries because, well, of course, how are you going to then pay for all that? But because it's not like you're going to get much of a better deal. from the same companies if the government is to pay for it directly. And it would take some real configuring to sort of figure all that out. Because at some point, to give some of the current amenities in a jail, they're going to have to work with a company. They don't have their own cell towers, just as an example, or they do not have their own infrastructure for sending out texts. To individual parties. They do not have a commissary, there's things that they would have to try to figure out, and they don't quite have all that stuff in place. It's an okay, it's definitely a very leftist sort of campaign, which, it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just also not super leftist. It's just sort of, left of liberal, I would say. It's a good way for Democratic voters that are more on the leftist side of things to sort of push. I just do not think that I think that the Green Party itself has been around a little bit too long for it to be able to have a big push towards being a major player in the party system that we currently have. That being said, I would still love it if people feel strongly about voting for the Green Party over, or even slightly strongly about voting for Jill Stein or whatever Green Party candidate over Joe Biden, or even Trump, if somehow they make that jump. I'm all for it. I mainly just want to see you guys vote for who you want, and not feel the pressure of if you vote for someone else, it's a wasted vote. Especially because, as I've discussed, the notion that your vote is a wasted vote is sort of silly when most states are in the safe column for one or the other. So unless you're in the 7 swing states this round, there's really no argument that you are wasting your vote. So what? Biden's popular vote win or Trump's popular vote win is slightly changed. Oh no, but if we get to, if we get any of the third parties to 5% or even 15%, that gives them a lot of advantages, or rather just a lot of equal playing room that they currently are not given in the system that we have today. So I guess with that, it's a okay party. They're very much for social justice, especially ecological justice. Here we can even see ecological. Economic, we got, and not all. Alright, so we only have 2 mentions of ecological, most likely, yeah, but there's many things that start with eco, like eco-labeling there, and a few other things that are just simply another way of saying, hey, we want ecological stability. So, it's an interesting campaign. I would love to see whoever wants to vote for them, of course. I don't want you to do anything you're not. I don't want you to just simply vote for someone because I say that you should. And I realized from the comments on my last video, a lot of you guys were like, hey, he's pretty... I'm just trying to say that there's other options in these types of videos. And that was something that I sort of struggled with the RFK Jr. one. I sort of see it as there's many different options to fix the issues. But with that, I will bid you guys all adieu. This is Evan at Political Breakdown.